I don't just like Bitcoin, I also like what's going on in the world of cryptocurrency. Tom Lee mentions a number of things in this video that really opened my eyes, and I think a lot of you back home will feel the same way. The crypto world is changing very quickly, much quicker than we thought it would in 2024 and even 2023. We could only dream of the kinds of things that are happening this year, but they are happening right now. And it will probably have a big effect on the prices of XRP and a lot of other digital assets. That's why I'm doing this video today, to share this information with you. So be sure to hit that like button. Let's get right into it so that everyone in the XRP army can see this video. I believe that Bitcoin's usefulness will grow by leaps and bounds in the future. Simple network value. We wrote about Bitcoin for the first time in 2017 when it was worth less than $1,000. We suggested it may reach $25,000 by 2022 since it is a network value asset. So we simply mentioned that if you looked at the number of wallets and the activity per wallet, which explained 90% of the movement of Bitcoin from 2009 to 2017, you would arrive to 25,022. And you can get to six figures eventually, you know? And that is true. These two things still explain around 87% of it. But Bitcoin is about to get a lot more useful for two reasons. One reason is because it doesn't have to follow as many rules. Isn't that right? The White House is basically making it a strategic reserve asset, and firms are putting it on their balance sheets because that's how people used to own real estate in retail. That wasn't a thing at first, but then people saw how valuable it was to possess the property. Some stores are worth more because they own the building. That's what Bitcoin is, your working capital. Banks are also very interested in Bitcoin because of stablecoins. Stablecoins might be the Web3 software that actually changes the way we do business, since for one thing, a stablecoin is better than a regular dollar. You don't need to send it through a third party to move it. Yes, that's right. If you want to trade billions or trillions, you can easily use the stablecoin market. And it's turning out to be more beneficial for a bank circle. I won't say anything about valuation, but Tether is a better illustration of net income because it's not. How can you trust the folks at Tether? You don't really know what's going on, do you? Well, this is where blockchain comes in. Blockchain has shown that you don't need to know the other person. You just have to have faith in the code. Yes. So, in terms of net income, Tether makes more money than most banks. I think it would be the third most profitable bank in the world. Wow. So, which bank is better, isn't it? What is a better way to do financial services? It's being built on the blockchain. I think stablecoins is the best program out there because Bitcoin is what makes everything work. You don't need a stablecoin if you already have Bitcoin, you know? So, Bitcoin and making financial services on top of stable currency are something that financial services organizations are starting to understand. Even Walmart and Amazon want a stablecoin because it's good for business to have one. You are transforming the financial system with crypto. So Bitcoin isn't the best? Yes. So, if you model this out in utility again, keep in mind that the stablecoin market is only about $250 billion right now. So you know that stablecoins are the 10th largest group of people who own U.S. treasuries. For example, twice as much as Germany. Wow! The U.S. government does want stablecoins to spread because they are a sure way to keep U.S. treasury markets from losing value. And its dollar dominance is only 27% of GDP, which is very low. In typical financial market trading, it's 88%, 80%. In crypto, it's 100% of the quoted pair. The dollar is more powerful in crypto. In the US, just 20% of people use stablecoins. Hong Kong, China, and Japan account for around 60% of all stablecoin transactions. So you can see that it's making people want dollars more outside of the US. And so, will Bitcoin keep going up? Yes, because Bitcoin protects the whole blockchain. You write for CNBC, and so do I. And then there are these fantastic times when you go up on Squawk Box and say, the S&P 500 is going to go up tomorrow by what? 1 or 2%. And then it does. How do you know this? A lot of it is based on evidence because we perform a lot of sensitivity research to figure out where we are in the markets. So, many of the things we say are likely to be true. But for that to really happen, it takes some luck, right? If something has an 80% chance of happening, it doesn't mean that today is one of those 20% days when it doesn't happen. So true. Because if something, we can check to see if something happens 90% of the time, and it has happened 1,000,000 times, but it doesn't happen the next 3 times. So, those 3 calls don't work. Tom Lee makes a lot of significant points here, but I think the most essential one is about how stablecoin dominance will grow in the future and how this will assist the US dollar become more dominant over the world. The government has every reason to support stable currency because it's in their best interest. As Tom Lee said, stablecoins are the 12th largest holder of US treasuries in the world, which is more than Germany, which has a multi-trillion-dollar economy. When you truly think about it, that's just crazy. Plus, they're the 3rd most lucrative bank in the world. The future is going to be like this. Every big store, like Costco, Walmart, Superstore, Amazon, and so on. Everyone is going to have their own stable currency. That will make them a lot of money. They're all going to want to encourage you to use their stablecoin by providing you different things, just like credit cards do now. And this is going to have a big effect on how the US economy grows in the future. And XRP, Ripple, and RLUSD, their stablecoin, will also be a big component of this. And it's up to us to truly help RLUSD become more widely used around the world so that it can be successful. Tom Lee said that most of the cryptocurrency trading in Korea, China, and Japan is done through USDT trading pairings. Is that right? So all of these folks are essentially putting billions of dollars into the market for USDT. And this is going to be a huge deal for the US government. And this is why they are pushing it so hard. Yes, it is possible for RLUSD to become widely used and for it to be used in banks and other places. But I do believe that everyone would try to make their own stable coin to obtain a piece of this market. Right now, USDT is clearly the best choice because they are years ahead of everyone else. But a lot of these banks will undoubtedly say, no, we're not going to use your stablecoin. We're going to make our own. We're going to tell all these crypto companies to screw off because we now have the regulatory certainty to do what we want. This may be a good thing. This might be disastrous. It's all about how we act as customers. If we don't use these banks' stable coinage and only use RLUSD, then they'll have to start using RLUSD too. That's why I'm doing this video today. It's very important for everyone in the XRP army to make sure that the future we all want is the one that gets out there. Don't utilize these banks, since they are only making these stable coins, to make money for themselves and not share any of the benefits with us. In that case, we make our own worst nightmare. But I digress. I'm going to talk about some more really important things that Tom Lee has to say here. I want you all to pay close attention because I have another very critical message at the end of this video. Pay attention. Let's get back to it. It's still going to stay at 90% for the history that has built up. It's always risky to declare that something has a 90% probability of happening, but that's usually why we make these kinds of predictions. And just swiftly and at a really high level. So when you're ready to say, okay, the S&P is going to go up, and there's an 80% chance that will happen. What signals are you using? As you stated, you're looking at the different pieces of evidence and how sensitive they are. Yes, markets often make significant changes because of things that surprise them. We have to like. Today, we're seeing it with Tesla. But the reason there's a surprise is that in general, there is something that, say, sets the value of a corporation. Let's assume it's either earnings or this S&P. For example, let's imagine that the Fed's dovishness is what keeps it stable. Okay,